Okay, folks, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to the live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our website at qac.org/live or on our public access governmental television channel provided by BreezeLine Cable Services. Citizens can participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment. Citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org, and all comments received will be summarized during the press and public comment period on tonight's agenda. We acknowledge everyone's participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table in the lobby, and comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Chris Corcorino.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please remain standing? County lost a very important member of the community, so remain standing for Kathy Wright. Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, brings us to the approval of tonight's agenda. So our agenda for today's meeting, July 8th, along with the regular session minutes, the Sanitary Commission minutes, the closed session minutes, all from the June 24th meeting have been circulated for review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
No, going to make a motion to accept the agenda as submitted and the minutes as well.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. All right, so we just held a closed session under the General Provisions Article, Sections 30305B1 to discuss boards and commissions, Section 3305B3 to discuss land acquisition, and Section 3305B7 to consult with counsel. And I believe we have a couple board and commission appointments to make.
Yep. Local Management Board, let's see here. We're going to move to appoint Roger Harrell, Robert James Randall, Andrew J. Gravis, and reappoint Denaria Murga to the Local Management Board. These terms will expire June 30th of 2028.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. So that moves to press and public comment. Nobody signed up?
Anybody here to speak at press and public comment? Be online? We'll roll on. Go.
All right. All right. So moving right along then, we can move to presentations. Commissioners, if you want to turn to tab number 6, we have 2 presenters tonight. First we have item 1, page 1, Miss Melinda Ray from Character Counts. And we have July's Character Counts Spotlight. So come on up, folks.
Hello.
Very special guest here this evening.
We do have a special guest. We also have Shauna Payne, who is one
All right.
of our coaches and on our advisory council. And you all know Mr. Humphreys.
All right.
So before we do the spotlight, I'll give you an update on our year. I love coming to you guys in July because we've just finished our school year, so I can tell you kind of like how that year went, and it went really well. So we had 100% coverage in our K-5 classes again, this for the second year in a row, so we're really excited about that. We also had coaches in all 4 middle schools. We had coaches at White River Upper School, and we had coaches with a homeschool co-op.
Is that me?
Is that the storms?
Yeah.
Storm alert.
That should be everybody. Everybody got
Yeah,
that?
everybody.
This is not a
It's just
test.
gonna rain on
This
me.
is not a test.
So yeah, so also in homeschool. So we are really kind of spreading out and reaching a lot of the children in the county this year. We're hoping to continue to expand next year. I just met with the principal of Stevensville Middle this morning, and we're going to pilot a program next year where I will be working directly with their student government their 8th graders to kind of spread the different pillars each month and do different activities throughout the school. So that's very exciting. This summer, I'm meeting with Lou Shepard, who's the new principal at Queen Anne's County High School, because we want to find a way to get into the high schools as well. So he seemed very eager to meet with me, and we're going to look at how we can work with those students. So that's exciting. I'm also meeting with Dr. Kibler next month, the new interim superintendent, just to make sure that we are still good with our partnership. I've met with him before, and he loves character counts, so I think we're good there. Last year, we expanded our student ambassador program. We had 14 character counts ambassadors in 7 of the elementary schools. These ambassadors got to do a lot of fun things. They shared the pillars at their school. They walked in parades with character counts. And one of their favorite things to do was work with QACTV. They helped us produce some super shows, which was really exciting. The kids loved the acting and the silliness of the crew there, which was always fun. At the end of the school year, I always send surveys out to our coaches, our teachers, and our 3rd through 5th grade students, and I wanted to share a little bit of what I learned. One of the main questions I asked was whether or not those populations felt that character counts was having a direct impact on their classrooms. Like, are you seeing a direct impact? The coaches, 95% of them felt that there was an impact on the classroom, a positive impact on the classroom. The teachers, 97% said there was a positive impact from having our coaches in their classrooms, which is really exciting. And the students, 3rd through 5th graders, so these are like 8 through 10-year-olds, 73% saw a positive impact, which was really cool. And 81% of them said that they loved having character counts. So I think those are pretty high numbers, given that that's a really tough age to impress. We've 43 enrolled businesses of character. We want to grow in that area. My goal is to have 50 by the end of the summer. So if you know of any businesses, nonprofits in our county that are not yet enrolled as a business of character, send them my way. We want everybody enrolled. This summer, we created lessons that are being shared at QA Parks and Rec's summer programs. And we also are working with Horizons, and we have character counts at their summer program. So it didn't end for us in June. We're reaching kids over the summer as well this year, which is really exciting. Looking forward, I am working on resource libraries that are being put together right now. They're going to be placed in all of the elementary schools so that our coaches can get books and lessons directly from their school. They will no longer have to travel to my office in Centerville to get something that they need. We're going to have them at the schools for them. So we're going to make it much easier to coach. There's no excuse not to volunteer for character counts now. We are also working with the social services department. We're planning a family fun event for October this year. That's going to be at Dominic's Farm in Queenstown, so I will send you all more information about that. And then we're also just really already still recruiting for coaches for next year. We're looking to make sure that we maintain that 100% streak that we've had for the past 2 years. So that's a lot. We've been busy.
Thank you.
Patrick, do you want to read the spotlight? Tab 6.
Tab 6, item 1, page 1. Yep, there you go.
As you can see, he tells me ahead of time.
Got to keep on his
So
toes.
prepared. I love it.
Clearly. QA Commissioners Character Count Spotlight for July 2025. Citizenship is the pillar. Character counts. Celebrates in July. Voting, volunteering, and stepping up for others are all great ways to be a good citizen in your community. This month, we'd like to recognize Lance Richardson and the incredible staff of the Queen Anne's County State's Attorney's Office for their dedication to citizenship. The Queen Anne's County State's Attorney, Lance Richardson, is responsible for prosecuting and defending criminal cases in Queen Anne's County on behalf of the state of Maryland. This includes all criminal offenses that occur within the county, ranging from serious traffic offenses to murder. The office also provides services for victims and witnesses and can assist in locating other available services. State's Attorney Richardson and his office advocate that we all be good citizens of Queen Anne's County. In 2012, he launched the State's Attorney's Office first ever diversion program. The program is primarily available to first-time offenders for nonviolent misdemeanors offenses. The purpose of the program is to provide an avenue for first-time offenders to obtain counseling, training through the program course available. The main goal is to rehabilitate the offender so that he or she will not return to the criminal justice system. Mr. Richardson is supporting
in his daily operations as state's attorney by a staff that includes a chief of staff, 2 deputy state's attorneys, 2 assistant state's attorneys, 2 victim witness staff members, 5 legal assistants, and an evidence control officer. We're grateful knowing this amazing team works tirelessly to protect our citizens and ensures fairness in the judicial process. In addition to his duties, excuse me, in addition to his duties to the office, Mr. Richardson has been a strong supporter of Character Counts and the Drug-Free Coalition, mind you, and served the county as a volunteer coach for over 20 years. We'd love to have you join him and other volunteers for the 2025-2026 school year to learn more if you are aware of a business, nonprofit, or individual in the county exemplifying one or all of the 6 pillars of character you think deserves to be spotlighted. Visit www.peopleofcharacter.org. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, I have to say that today I learned about the diversion. I actually met with some of those folks, and I didn't really know what it was. And they invited me over, and I went over across the street and learned about it. It sounds like the mobile crisis is a great program.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
I appreciate the recognition. I do want to just say my office has a great partnership with Character Counts. 2 of my other prosecutors have been involved along with me for a long time as coaches. As you can see, our director of the program, Miss Ray, filled with energy and enthusiasm. She gets things done and she fills the classrooms with great coaches. And it's such a rewarding program. I started when my daughter was in 2nd grade. She's finishing up PA school. She's 25 now. So after my kids were done, I just stuck around because I got so much gratification from helping work with 9 and 10-year-olds. They make you feel like a rock star. So
They do.
I would recommend coaching to someone who's looking for a way to get involved in the community and make a difference. Great program. So thank you for the recognition.
Absolutely, it's more than deserving. And when I was teaching in the county, Lance was actually my very first Character Counts coach.
And Lance not only does that, you do refereeing for youth sports. You and Commissioner Moran and the sheriff speak at the schools for the Drug and Alcohol Coalition. I mean, he does everything.
Always giving back.
Yeah,
Perfect example of
absolutely.
citizenship.
He did pretty good for a Queen Anne's County graduate, right?
I did.
Yes, proud to be a graduate of the county school system.
Yeah.
So, and I do need a ref just so I get off the couch. I need my steps.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right, Commissioners, if you want to turn to tab number 7, we have one legislative item this evening for consideration. We have County Ordinance number 2508. This is Cluster Subdivision Buffer Yard. This is a text amendment that was initiated by the Planning Commission, and it is ready for introduction and scheduling for a public hearing. And this will...
Any background on this one?
Yeah,
Oh, you got some.
the Planning Commission recommended this to require buffer yards, basically so when they're put in at the first instance of a cluster subdivision versus at the end of the project, because they'd rather see that up front, because the homeowners, towards the end of the project, they like the vistas, and these buffer yards are designed to protect the agricultural open space areas adjacent to those projects, and there's a lot of uses that can be permitted in those areas, so it's really designed to protect the ag zone and get those buffer yards in early versus at the end of the project, and then eliminate any waiver provisions that would be applicable to those buffer yards at the end of the project. So it was, again, initiated by the Planning Commission to do those 2 things specifically.
All right, I'll introduce it.
Thank you, Commissioner Corcorino. Okay, we will schedule a public hearing for that. All right, that's all we have for legislation. If you want to turn to tab number 2, we have 5 items for the Department of Public Works.
Presentation number 2.
Oh, excuse me. We skipped right over that. We have presentation number 2, tab 6, back to tab number 6. Heather Tonelli, our Economic and Tourism Development Director. She has her department update. All right, and we have the same presentations in your book, and it's up on the big screen here as well.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to come in and do a quarterly update. Today I have with me April Plummer, who's our marketing administrator for our department. And then I also wanted to take a minute to introduce our new economic development coordinator, Debbie Gill. She just started on Wednesday, and we're very, very happy to have her, and fills a much-needed void in our department. So we're ready to get going, and she's got 20,000 emails from me already.
Welcome
Yeah,
aboard.
maybe
Yeah.
40. But she'll be working with the Economic Development Incentive Fund and all of our incentives, as well as meeting with businesses. So we're really excited to have her on board. So I just wanted to give you an update on some of our key performance indicators. We still, as every time I come in, hold the line on being the second lowest unemployment rate at 2.4%. Carroll County continues to be the number one at 2.3%, and the majority of the counties, run around 2.5 to 2.7%. Our commercial property tax base still stays around 11%. There was a slight increase that we saw over the last year, which I was happy to see because it hasn't moved in quite a while. And we will see, hopefully, continued increases over time through redevelopment of existing commercial properties and/or development of commercial land in the future. We'll never get to the 30% ideal rate because we have such a large residential and agricultural percentage of land, and that's fine. I don't think that's what Queen Anne's County wants to be anyway, but I do believe that we can certainly develop some of our commercial properties and add to that base. And the way that the stats look currently, we envision a 5% growth in our population. Right now, we're at like 52,000, and the trends indicate we will see a 5% increase. So if you consider that's like 2,500, 2,700 individuals over the next 5 years. Go to the next one. We do keep track of the businesses that we touch or work with and deals that we have in process. And we did look at the State Department of Assessments and saw $52 million in commercial property sales in FY25, so that's July 1, 24 through June 30, 25. We have about $72 million in deals in process. Those are long-term, not overnight kind of things. Some of them have been on for a couple years, but we're excited to still see that number stand strong. And we're actively marketing 50 commercial industrial properties. A large portion of those are office sites, but still, nonetheless, we're excited
Heather,
about
real quick, on the 72 million, is that property sales or is that total investment?
The 72 is a combination of all the above. It could be that these are deals like companies going for loans for expansion or expanding in their existing space, spending money, job creation, receiving a grant that we help them apply for, those sort of things.
So it's not necessarily going to move the needle on the property tax because it's not all the property, but it could be some.
It could be, yes, it absolutely is some. One of them is, quite a large deal that will move the needle. I wanted to share this with you because we're real excited to have this. Prior to having this site selector tool, we would have to go, I call it fishing ourselves, and look at various property listings to try to find listings for potential businesses that want to locate here or site selectors. Because many of the commercial properties were not listed on like the larger research tools like QACTV that we had a subscription to, and it would take quite a bit of time to try to research. So we were able to utilize, it's called Resimplify, and it's on our website, and it lists all of those 50 properties with links out to those so that we could send anyone that's looking for a property to this site, and it is on our website under resources, and I suggest that anyone that is looking or interested, and there's also a map on there, and you can see where the property concentration is and the types of properties, so it's really helpful for us to have, saves us a lot of time, and it's also nice because they are now doing what I call fishing for us and finding those sites and updating those on the system. several projects that we are continuing to work on. Many of them you've heard about from me before. We are starting the implementation of the Ag Tourism and Land Use Study. That was in partnership with Planning and with the Ag Extension Office. Was put to the side for a little bit, and now we're getting into working on that. The Economic Development and Strategic Plan, we talked about that in January when we had the event, and we just formed our subcommittees to work on the 5 strategies. The last plan before that was done, I think, in 2012, and it was a 10-year plan, or maybe it was 2015. It was before my time, but it was coming to its end, so it was time to look at where we wanted to move forward. We still continue working on the Economic Development Incentive Fund update, and are exploring, along with the Upper Shore Regional Council, a regional loan program for businesses. That's in its infancy stage and still exploration. And lastly, we continue to work with Sothersville. That project was funded through the Rural Maryland Economic Development Fund. It's the last project that we have open. It should be done in November, but it was to look at an economic strategy for them, as well as to help them apply for the Sustainable Communities application. And if they are successful in achieving that, it opens up enormous grant opportunities and programming and support opportunities. So it's a real win for them to get it done. And that funding will help make sure it gets to the finish line. Some of the grants that we just found out, some of them that we have received. Maryland 250, that one was the last time I came through. That was for $4,000. That's to focus on marketing for the Maryland 250 event coming up. We received a grant, just received the paperwork for the grant for a mobile visitor center for $112,000. A $50,000 grant for a Maryland alcohol production grant, and what that is a marketing tool as well. It sounds different. And then we are also working with Medco on some site readiness grants. We submitted several sites, and 3 were approved, so there's more to come on that, and we're pretty excited about that opportunity as well. You can switch through this one.
Skip it.
Ferry update. We recently had a meeting with Maryland Department of Transportation to give them an update on where that is in the process, and that was with all 5 counties that are part of the ferry feasibility study. And then we were also had a meeting with Anne Arundel County and Queen Anne's County Department of Public Works and Parks and Transportation within the county to look at the potential, if that, they received quite a bit of money, I think like $4 million in federal grants, Anne Arundel County did, to support the purchase of 2 ferries with the goal of having one of the routes come to Mattapique area. So we met with them and continue to meet with them to look at where that would be located, how it would operate, where the parking would be, all those kind of things. It's anticipated that if the funding comes through, because a lot of the federal grant funding is on hold, the project would be completed in into 2027, 2028, because they need to find the boats as well, so it's a little bit off. The last piece that I wanted to share with you before April gives you an update on tourism is the comptroller put out a report in June of 2025 looking at the impact of federal government spending and layoffs and how that would affect the state, but it also drilled down into the county. And I had shared that I wanted to get this information for the county and have pulled it up. Thank goodness they did all the work, so I was able to pull the report without having to get the information myself. But it stated that there were 133 direct jobs within Queen Anne's County that were federal government jobs, and there are 954 employees within Queen Anne's County that work for the federal government, but that means that those 954 are working outside of Queen Anne's County. To give you an idea of what that means for us, our labor force is 28,000 potential employees, so that's about 0.7% of our employees. If you look at the local jobs, if you look at the 954, that's about 3.5. And this is not saying that they don't have their jobs and they're not working. It's just that what the potential could be if all of them were to lose their jobs, which we don't expect that to happen. About $30.8 million in federal contracts were received by Queen Anne's County in the federal fiscal year 24, so that's October 2024. And we're about 17th in the state as far as the contract awards, and that's private contract awards, not in the public realm. And about 15.5 million in federal grant awards, and that's 19th in the state. And just to give an idea, there was $68 billion in federal grant awards to Maryland in federal fiscal year 24, and about $40 billion in federal contract awards within the state. So it puts in perspective where Queen Anne's County falls. Although we do have federal contractors for sure, we don't have as much risk as the larger Montgomery's and Prince George's counties of the world, which I was happy to see. The last piece that I wanted to share with you is we're working towards putting this out to focus our continued efforts on workforce development with the school systems and with the college. This will be online very shortly, and then we hope to get it out. It's just different ways that businesses and individuals can participate in our efforts to work with the school system and to look at trades and CTE education and opportunities, whether it through apprenticeships or internships. So we continue our work with that, and we hope to, the next time we come to you, be able to provide the stats for the career centers that were implemented through the rural Maryland monies. They're working on pulling those together now. Next, I'm going to hand it over to April to give an update on some tourism information.
Okay, so I just have a couple quick things. Our hotel tax, I have this up from 2024 calendar year. We will have the fiscal information in the next couple of weeks, so I went calendar year, but we still had an increase of 3.2%, but what we've started to see is it's starting to normalize now that the Hyatt's been open for about 2.5 years. And we had a COVID recovery. We were recovered by 2022, so with that information, we're going to normalize a little bit and see some more data come in and some trends. The visitor statistics, these are from 2023. We get these in partnership with the state and the rest of the DMOs. So this just shows some of the trends here for the county. We'll have new data in a couple of months, but it's 4.7% increase in visitors and a 6.3% increase in spending, and these are 2023. And it still shows the relative to 2019, which was the benchmark year before COVID, that is still kind of relevant to bookmark. Some of our marketing campaigns that are out, so it's a lot of the spring summer focus right now. So we have our Crafts and Crushes going strong still. Dock Bars of the Chesapeake Bay is one of the features that we have in Prop Talks. That's a really popular guide that's out for about 4 months. So when people are looking for dock bars, we have all of our restaurants listed with their branding in place, and then that website takes you to everybody that's on that trail. And then we have another spring summer campaign. This one's in Edible Delmarva, but we use this ad in a few places throughout different publications and digitally. We just recently redid a lot of our banners for our trade shows and in-person meetings. So here's just a few. I think we got a total of 9 or 10 done. And then we can use these in different combinations. So a few that are up here are the Shore Sports, Shore History, and Shore Adventures. So we'll use those for when we go in person. So an example of that would be selling group sales, or when we go to sell history, we're going to have a museum that comes here. So there'll be opportunities for history tours, and we can sell the history tours for group packages as well. And then there's a sports conference coming up that will take this sports banner too. And then my last thing that I have is we had a journalist fam tour come through from the UK. So we got to tour them around. This was in May. We got this in partnership with OTD, Maryland, and with Cruza. And they brought this whole group here for a few days. They did a DC, Maryland, and Virginia trip. So we were the second stop for them. We were able to take them to 8 historic sites, 6 of our restaurants. We got to show them how to eat crabs. We took them out on the water for a boat ride. And we also brought in a lot of our local experts to teach them things. So for example, we had Captain Meredith talking to them about working on the water, and he was there for lunch to show how to pick crabs. And then we had Jack Broderick walk through the historic sites, Niambi Davis at Kennard. So we were able to pull in a lot of our experts and affect a lot of our businesses while they were here. And then we're just thankful for all of our partners that made that a success as far as the restaurants, the historic sites, and OTD and Cruza.
And then the hope will be, it was not hope, it will happen, they will produce articles back in the UK for whatever publications that they work for, and the funding was picked up through the state, so it wasn't any expense for us. It was only a spend as far as they were spending money in our restaurants and buying gifts and.
Did you show them
they
the statue
stayed-
of Queen Anne?
We did. That was
Okay.
one of our stops, and they went to Edwards and shopped, and then we went to Kennard. Yeah, so that was one of their final stops, and then they had a lunch, and then they went on to Virginia. But we kind of divided as a team. Heather, Penny, Casey, and I kind of split up and divided over the days to take them out, so, yeah, it went great.
That's it we have for you today. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
What's the preview for the Taste of Maryland booth at Mako? Or you're not gonna let us know yet, are you?
I don't know.
It's double wide, I know that.
Yeah.
Heather, do you want to mention any of the businesses that have moved here to the county in the last couple months? Anything that you can, I should say, that are done and,
There aren't any that are fully done yet, so
Okay.
I'm unable to, but
Okay.
we've had a lot of calls and outreach, even more than what I even envisioned last year at the same time. The great part is some of them are like in their infancy stage, and then several of them are existing and looking to bring employees here or expand. Next time I'm here, I would love to share
That'd be good.
some more information on those.
all right.
Thank you for all of the
Thank you.
excellent
Thank you,
work as
ladies.
usual.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's phones are buzzing, so I think this one's about to hit.
Yeah.
See if we can keep the power on.
All right, moving on, we have the Department of Public Works. So first up, we have the Roads Division. So if you want to convene as the Roads Board, we have 4 items for the Roads Board.
Motion to convene as roads?
Second, all in favor? Aye. Roads.
All right, Commissioners, if you want to turn to tab number 2, Public Works, item 1, pages 1 through 7. First item is Harford and Olive Branch Road. This is a request for a public hearing for that road in Kent Island Estates. So Shane, can you give us a couple highlights about that informational meeting, please?
Harford and Olive Branch Road is a private road that's split between the Kent Island Estates and Roanoke Community Associations. Starts out as Harford and turns into Olive Branch. The residents there petitioned to have that road upgraded to a county road, and we're all a little familiar with that process. And we had a public information meeting on March 19th to go over the improvement and the special benefit of tax assessment process. We had a total of 41 property owners involved with the project. Of that, we had 20 represented at the meeting. In addition, we had one additional property owner that sent in a vote by email. All in all, we had 20 residents in favor of moving forward with a public hearing. This project is a 2,640-foot private road improvement project from Route 8 to the end of Olive Branch Road. And it comes out, it's estimated now currently at $232,000, which works out to a cost per owner around $5,700. So with your approval and scheduling, we can work on formalizing everything for a public hearing, hopefully sometime in October.
Okay,
I move to schedule the proposed Hartford and Olive Branch Road Improvement Project public hearing.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item 2, also a public hearing request. This one's for South Carolina Road and Oak Street, pages 8 through 13.
Sure. This private road improvement project is in Kent Island Estates. This includes all of South Carolina Road from Route 8 all the way to Bay, and a portion of Oak Street that would be improved as part of continuity of road systems. This is a 3,740-foot project of private to public road improvements. The total cost is around $336,000 estimated right now, which works out to about $6,870 per owner. In our April 30th public information meeting with those residents, out of 49 property owners, we had 9 attend. Was a very low showing. The majority of those 9 were opposed to the project and very vocal about it for reasons from costs to drainage to speeding concerns. So we worked to discuss those. We did have a few people stay after the meeting to discuss a little bit more and cast their vote then. And then we had quite a few people actually email in afterwards. There was a push of residents afterwards that did not attend the meeting. So all in all, we had a total of 10 property owners in favor and 8 against. We were looking to hold a public hearing on the same night as the Harford Road project and kind of do them back to back in a way to kind of save some steps and
So we stagger them, not.
stagger them. Yes,
Okay, makes sense.
that's the hope.
Get a motion?
I move to schedule the proposed South Carolina Road and Oak Street Improvement Project public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Let's schedule it.
All right.
Hey Shane, just out of curiosity, for Hartford and Olive Branch, if you go back to page 5, I don't know if you're numbered the same way, assessment option property owners basis using 41 property owners. It shows a single payment of $5,667
Uh-huh.
or annually for 10 years.
It should read 20 years.
Thank you. That's all. Just want to make sure we got that correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were getting a bargain.
All right, Commissioners, we'll probably schedule those for the 28th of October at the Kent Island Estates Community Hall or at the fire company down there, if that's agreeable.
Yeah, October.
That's a regular commissioner meeting night.
No, that's great.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
So we just do the whole commissioner meeting there.
We can, yeah, do the whole commissioner meeting there.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Take it on the road. Let's go.
All right, great. Okay, moving on, item number 3, pages 14 through 19 is a public works agreement with R.B. Baker and Sons, and this is for maintenance and funding responsibilities for a small portion of Cherry Lane that he is going to utilize as a haul route from a new borrow pit to the new rubble landfill. So,
Yep, so, as Todd said, this is a public works agreement to use a $100,000 maintenance bond, which is scheduled to last 15 years at a truck rate of 50 trucks per day to haul material from his borrow pit, adjacent to 301, from the borrow pit to Cherry Lane, then the small portion of Cherry Lane to 301 South, to the first blinking light on 301 South, which is 4H Park Road or Route 18, and then travel north towards Centerville to his new Cell 3 at his rubble landfill, where he'll use the material, and then the empty truck will then proceed north on 18 to John Brown Road to 301 South and back down. So it's a constant loop of traffic. But this PWA is just for the portion of Cherry Lane, which is a county road, which is currently tar and chip. It's mostly a dirt road, but there is a small portion that's tar and chip, and that's where he'll be driving on. So we'll be over that 15 years, we'll have that bond that we can pull from if we need to do road maintenance.
Very good.
I move to execute the R.B. Baker and Sons Incorporated Public Works Agreement.
Second.
A motion second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
all right, thank you, Commissioners. As sitting as the Roads Board, we have one final item. This is an informational item. Up on the screen here, we have it's also in the book on pages 20 through 24. This is the FY25 Roads Division Resurfacing Program, just to give you an idea of what is scheduled. Some of this work has been done, but I'll let Shane take it from here and give you some highlights of the various road resurfacing projects we have this summer.
Sure. It's categorized as the FY25 update. Both our slurry seal program and our tar and chip program in FY25 was actually delayed from last summer due to it just getting too cold. So we had to delay that to this year. So we were able to, in the spring, complete our slurry seal program, which is 13 miles. That was completed in the month of April. Again, doing 13 miles with slurry pavers out of Virginia. Our tar and chip program began on June 17th. We expect that to be finished in the next couple of weeks. They're taking their time with that program because we've had some pretty excessive heat days, and when it gets really hot, it's kind of hard to tar and chip and get that to really stick well. So we have to shut them down on really, really hot days. That's our contractor there is American Paving Fabrics. When we are completed, we hope to complete 52.24 miles. And that's indicated in the map, I believe, in sort of a dark magenta color. Our hot mix asphalt program, which is more or less is a combination of FY '25 and FY '26. We typically try to do about 3 miles a year, but right now looks like we're shooting for about 8 miles right now. That would be using David A. Bramble out of Chestertown, Maryland. Of the 8.24, we have completed 1.38 miles, and that is the Shrewsbury and the Upland project, which we came in here last fall and presented, and we completed that in the fall. We will probably push off our asphalt a little bit longer and wait till we get our tar and chip done, and then we'll start our hot mix asphalt program.
The Kentmore Road, is that the whole entire road?
Which one? I'm sorry.
Kentmore Road, it says .54.
Oh, the Kentmore is Kentmore, Orchid, and Allen.
So is that from Route 8,
Yes, that would be the whole road.
the whole road?
Yes.
Are they making it any wider, or is it going just what's existing?
No, we're not, when we're doing asphalt hot mix, we're just gonna overlay what's there.
Okay.
It's getting a little out of section. Hot mix is often used. In that case, those roads are tar and chip, but they're getting so out of section that we can use the asphalt to bring them back in section. Other than that, we'd have to totally reclaim the road, take it back to dirt, regrade, and reshoot it with tar and chip, which we could certainly do at a cheaper cost, but it would be highly inconvenient for the residents and the businesses in that area for that time, because we would probably leave it dirt for several weeks to a month before we
I think
reshot
everybody's
it.
going to complain about that asphalt.
They'll like the asphalt, yeah. It'll wedge and level, it'll be nice, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, be very nice.
I just noticed that asphalt, they don't have that wide harbor on there. I gotta see what's going on there.
I had this get right across.
That's
from
right.
Kenmore, just a little more.
It's just for some
There's a
trucks
little
can
extra
turn
asphalt
around,
right there. Yeah, there's.
All righty. Well, thank
And
you very
included on
much.
there is a list of all the road names by section, by maintenance section, if there's any questions about those.
Good question.
No, sweet.
All good. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, commissioners,
You're not on the motorcycle, are you?
not tonight. Good. Yeah, good thing. All right, we have one item for the sanitary commission.
Motion to convene as sanitary?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this would be item number 5 in your book, Town of Sudlersville National Rural Water Association Loan Assumption Agreement on pages 25 through 30. So as you know, we've assumed 3 existing USDA loans for the town of Sudlersville for the sewer treatment plant, 2 of those, and the water treatment plant and the distribution system. So this, the town also has a small bridge loan for engineering fees associated with the Barclay sewer system that was initially called for $100,000. And in accordance with our recent agreements with the town to take all aspects of their water and sewer operation and finances, we need to assume this payment of the loan for the engineering services, and the outstanding balance of which is $39,320.50.
I move that in accordance with the agreement between the county and the town of Sudlersville, which stipulates the county will assume the payment of all loans or other obligations associated with the water and sewer service, that we execute the assumption agreement with the National Rural Water Association.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
All right, thank you, commissioners. That's all we have for Public Works. We can move into new business this evening, so that's under tab number 3. So if you want to turn to tab 3, we have 8 action items for tonight. So tab 3, item 1 on pages 1 through 48, we have the Federal Transit Administration and Maryland Transit Administration certifications and assurances. This is an annual action item, which also includes an authorizing resolution number 2507. And this item is the FTA and MTA certifications and assurances packet that requires for FY26, certifying that our system will operate, our public transit system and the statewide Specialized Transportation Assistance Program in accordance and compliance with all certifications and state laws.
I move to adopt the authorizing resolution 2507 for the Federal Transit Administration and Maryland Transit Administration certifications and assurances FY 2025 packet to certify the Queen Anne's County Department of Community Service Area Agency on Aging will operate the public transit system and the statewide Specialized Transportation Assistance Program, or SSTAP.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? So it's basically, we certify that we're going to follow the law?
Pretty much, yeah. We receive the grant funds from the federal and the state coffers, and then we have to certify with these.
Then we tell them
It seems like it happens more than once a year, but
This is actually one of those ones where we get the money first, then we tell them we're gonna do it.
every year, that's right.
It's not the other way around, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed to following the law? No, motion carries, okay.
And we also have that authorizing resolution 2507 for adoption as well. So, okay. All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 2, pages 49 through 91, this is for the Department of Corrections. This is a grant funding program. This is a more grant funding for 2 contractual positions. We are happy to report that we received grant funding through the Maryland Office of Overdose Response for 2 positions, contractual positions, to enhance our medical assisted treatment service, otherwise known as the MAT program. Again, it covers 2 positions beginning in July of this year through June 30th of 2027. And this is for a part-time certified medical technician to administer necessary dosing to our population, and a dedicated peer support specialist who will work exclusively with the population to allow for stronger one-on-one engagement and more reliable support and improved recovery resources. So the warden is here if you have any questions about these 2 positions, but again, they are grant funded, and I believe it does have a 1-year potential extension for a 3-year total service program.
I move that the Department of Corrections accept the Moore grant to include funding to hire a part-time contractual certified medication technician and peer support specialist, resulting in no cost to Queen Anne's County.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Warden. I imagine he's going to stick around for a little while, so since we're,
Stuck here now.
everyone's stuck here.
You might melt out there.
That's right. All right, item number 3 on pages 92 through 95. This is a follow-up item. This is the Crumpton and Deep Landing bulkhead and ramp replacement. As you recall from last meeting, we had 3 bids ranging from $909,548 up to over $1 million for this project, and we had some follow-up research to do in terms of the local vendor certification, and we did conclude via the county attorney that the local vendor policy does not apply when there are any state or federal funds associated with the project. So they must have all local funds included. So we're back to essentially the low bid recommendation to Bay Coastal from Berlin, Maryland for $909,548, conditioned upon the anticipated $250,000 in additional DNR waterway grant improvement funds. And we also need $75,000 in additional county funds to fully fund the project, and we had 2 sources potentially for the commissioners to pick from to fund the county portion, being the Ferry Point project or the general fund.
I move to authorize the Department of Parks and Rec to contract with Bay Coastal Contracting from Berlin, Maryland for the Crumpton and Deep Landing projects in a total amount of $909,548, contingent upon spending or pending $250,000 in Maryland DNR WIF grant funds and award of county funds in the amount of $75,000 from the Ferry Point Restoration Project.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
When will they be done with it? I see roughly.
Schedule, James?
We'll do Crumpton first. There is a time of year restriction, small dredging aspect of that, that is, needs to be complete by October 31st. So we'll start that as soon as the contractor's ready to go, so that'll get done first, and then deep landing. So we anticipate being ready for the boating season next year, and it's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has. I appreciate it.
Good done.
You're finally there.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
right.
Great job,
Thank you,
4th of
gentlemen.
July.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
I guess July 2nd, but 4th of July fireworks.
It worked out well.
It worked out really well.
Sure did.
Yeah.
It's a very nice show, yeah. All right, Commissioners, next up, we have item number 4 on pages 96 through 98. And this is a proposal to increase the erosion and sediment control plan review fee schedule. Tony Riggi is here. He's our district board manager, and he and his board of supervisors are requesting approval of the plan review fee schedule. It is in the book. Last increase was in 2023, and the fees collected by these fees pay for the contract plan reviewer, and the remainder is used for their general operating budget costs. So the fees range based on the type of plan. So if you have any questions, I'll let Tony elaborate on the fees and the program.
I move to approve the Queen Anne Soil Conservation District's request to increase the erosion and sediment control plan review fee schedule rates.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions?
Tony, before we vote, could you share for the audience
Sure.
what you're doing?
We are delegated by the state of Maryland, the Soil Conservation District, to review and approve erosion sediment control plans, anything over 5,000 square feet for any kind of residential, commercial, or industrial type of project, and then shoreline over 500 square feet. So any of those erosion sediment control plans come through us. Our major plans, which are small industrial, commercials, or any residential over 15,000 square feet of disturbance, we have a contract reviewer that we have contracted to do those reviews for us. Any of the single family residence, which is between 5,000 and 15,000 square feet, we review in-house. Review our forest harvest, ENS plans, our shoreline ENS plans, all in-house.
When did they start that?
In the 70s.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say 72, maybe?
Wow.
For sediment control.
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
You got a plaque over there that says it, right?
Somewhere.
I was gonna say, I remember just reading when it
We had a
started.
great resource, Herb Sack, who was with MDE for years. Actually, he was originally DNR before MDE, and he was on the forefront of the erosion sediment control plan. And he was always a proponent of the districts keeping that delegation to review and approve those. And we just lost him a couple years ago, but he was a great resource, went all the way through from the beginning. And at the end, he had retired and became a Anne Arundel Soil Conservation District board member, so.
What you gotta love is, see, this is one of the last bastions of local control that the state hasn't tried to mess with, which is a good thing.
And I think Montgomery County is the only county that has taken it away from the districts. And that was a fight about 10 years ago or more.
So for new development, they obviously comply with the sediment control that you want them to. What percentage, this is an unfair question, but what percentage is left that isn't new since this started?
Not sure of that, but we are just locally seeing a bunch of plans that may have been submitted, some in the early 2000s, that have come back around with the housing market changes to come back and restart those. There's only a handful of grandfathered subdivisions outside the growth zones that are above the 7 acres left for residential. And we are seeing in the last 2 years, probably 3 of the major growth area properties coming in for reviews. 2 in Sudlersville and then 1 in Queenstown.
But they also do farm fields themselves, ag fields themselves.
Right.
You guys just finished one up by me, as a matter of fact, up there off Price. Or to maintain the farm fields for
Yeah.
runoff as well.
Yeah, our ag side is all erosion or soil and water quality conservation plans, which is kind of erosion sediment control for farmlands, where the ag land is exempt from those, but they have to be covered under that plan.
Right.
So if the farmer wants to do a buffer zone of 10, 20, 25 feet, will you?
Yeah, they come to us, yep. They
Will
come
you
to-
help them get nitrogen-rich plants, trees, grasses?
We usually will help with the planning process, working with them on what, maybe what kind of trees and all that they would want. We work with different people that have that, Ernst Seeds out of Pennsylvania is a big one for a lot of there are several Maryland mixes for grasses, and they have every Maryland mix they can make. But there's other local, there in Queen Anne, they'll get some, a lot of times Ernst provides it. We try to work with the local nurseries anytime we're doing any kind of tree stuff to do native trees and that sort of thing. But anywhere from a buffer zone to a, manure storage building to a grass waterway to stop erosion in the farm fields. Wetland restoration, we actually worked with Parks and Rec. Because it's on ag land that was ag land, and going through the soil conservation and water quality plan, we didn't have to go through the MDNOI plan or the erosion sediment control plan because that conservation plan covered it. And that's the one down at Tanner, I think, Tanner Farm. And any of these reviews that are for local or county or state government, they are exempt from fees. So we review those without fee,
They're exempt from what?
or fee. So we review those without fee. So any county projects, Board of Ed projects, town of Sudlersville, Queenstown, any of those projects, we waive the fee on those. Because you are generous enough to give us employees, so. Not every county, or not all our neighbors do that, so.
All right, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tony. Good to see you. All right, Commissioners, moving on, item number 5, pages 99 through 111. We have 3 human resource policies. The Department of Human Resources is recommending revisions to 3 policies, which have also been reviewed by the Employee Communication and Morale Committee and department directors. They include the career ladder and telework policy, they include the character counts, coaches, and book buddies policy, and then we have 2 additional policies that have been reviewed also by our labor attorney, which would include the career ladder guidelines and the telework policies. So Beverly Churchill is here. If you have any questions about the policies, I can go into those in a little more detail if you like.
Can I get a motion?
I move to adopt the revised character counts and book buddies, career ladder guidelines, and telework policies to be effective in 7 business days.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
So,
Questions?
I guess the only one I got angst about is the telework workman's comp. That's the one that just, since they passed that law, it's just, to me, you're in your house.
Right.
And you're working for the county, and if you hurt yourself in your house, you're now on workman's comp for the county. I mean.
I don't know if that's ever happened, but
But it's in the policy, so if it did happen.
That is correct. That, I can't change the law, but that
I
is,
know,
that
I
is
know it's not you,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, that is, unfortunately, that is correct.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons we're kind of tightening down on it, to make sure it is in Maryland, so we don't have to abide by other states and their personnel laws, because that gets a lot more complicated. So at the advice of our attorney, was like, we need to really be a little more stricter on that. We don't have a lot of people that telework on a routine basis, so I don't think it's gonna be a real problem. We've talked with the directors, the
Okay.
ones that have telework on a routine basis, so.
It's just one of those ones I
It's
shake
just
my
one
head
of
at
the-
for
I
common
shake-
sense going,
And you scratch your head like
Yeah.
this, yeah, I know. Yeah, because they're technically working and that's their workspace, yeah. But hopefully they're not doing their laundry and all that stuff too.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like.
I knew what you were thinking.
Yeah, you're doing it
Toe
on, you're
with
on
the
the,
slippers
yeah,
in the
well, you
mud.
hurt yourself Sunday, and all of a sudden, I gotta telework on Monday, but
Yeah.
oh my God, I broke my ankle.
Right,
So it's just, I don't know, it just,
yeah.
but okay. I know it's the state.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and I appreciate you reading the policy.
All right, thank you all. Okay. Item number 6, pages 112 through 116, we have an Information and Communications Technology Policy, a new policy. This is called the Change Management Policy. Again, a new policy to manage awareness and expectations when a department or an agency requests an IT change, such as a new software application, hosted application. They need to make sure they are aware and understand the requirements for the hardware side of things. So it's just to make everyone aware that we have to work together with software solutions and hardware solutions and work together to make sure they can be supported by our Information Communication Technologies group. So that's essentially the need for this particular change management policy.
I move to approve the Information and Communication Technology Change Management Policy number 700-009 to be effective July 8th, 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, all right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 7, also for Information Communications Technology. This is the County Security Operations, County Security Operations Center, Security Information and Event Management. County Information Technology has multiple solutions that are monitored manually currently, with alerts being sent to various IT groups as issues arise, critical issues arise. And in the interest of security and efficiency, to have a 24/7 Security Operations Center, otherwise known as a SOC, to review the logs and collate alerts through the Security Information and Event Management, the SIM facility, to manage those critical issues is required. I know that's a lot, but it is part of our new world now in information technology. So the IT department evaluated multiple solutions to address the requirements, which included visibility and coverage, monitoring and response, compliance and reporting. And they decided on the product that would be called Cerebro, which includes onboarding and training with a 2 to 5 year support system for maintenance. So that system was put out for bid. The county received 5 bids. They're listed in your book, and they ranged from $60,110 up to $73,600. The three of the 5 bids were selected for award. 2 bids were not selected. They were non-compliant. And the good news is the Teneo Group, which we have worked with before, is the lowest responsible bidder, and we would recommend award of the contract to the Teneo Group for this system. And we do have our Information Communication Technology Director, Brian Riley, here if you have any technical questions for this item.
I move to approve the ICT Department's purchase of the Cerebro Social SIM solution from the Tenco Group for a total purchase price of $60,110 per annum.
I'm going to second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions?
I'll ask Jack's question. Are any of these from Queen Anne's County? Any of these businesses from Queen Anne's County?
No, not correct, not local. Teneo is the same vendor that we use for working with firewalls. We've been with them for years and years and years. I would say, talking with the owner, Paul, that the reason why we always get a little bit from them, even though they don't work with state contracting or anything, is because there's a loyalty relationship that we build with them over the years.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. And I will note too, as we know, our friends from New York, our bond rating agency folks, they always stress that cybersecurity is a big, big issue for all the jurisdictions, and we don't want to be that county that gets hacked.
Legit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
One additional comment is, this is probably the next step that we are taking to not be Anne Arundel County. As far as what took place with them and being,
They got hacked.
Oh, yeah.
MedStar, I remember on
Erie
MedStar,
Insurance too got it.
they didn't just get hacked, they got
It was requested of me to keep us out of the papers.
embezzled, held hostage.
All right, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Commissioners. All right, our final item for this evening is item number 8, pages 119 through 125. This is an amendment to an easement and legal documents for a extinguishment of an open space easement for the Pippin Farm LLC. This subdivision was originally done under the cluster guidelines, and now they are eligible to reclassify these properties under the sliding scale regulations, which allows them to reduce or eliminate the open space requirement of 190.45 acres.
I move to execute the declaration of extinguishment of easement for the Pippin LLC amendment to easement plan.
Second.
Motion second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Commissioners, thank you very much. We have press and public comment.
Anybody want to speak? You're stuck here in the rain. Round table. Patrick?
Well, we lost a great person, Kathy Wright. Jim, I'll let Jim talk on it if he wants to, but I don't really have anything else to say. Sad day.
Very sad. Jim?
Well, I guess we go back to, I'll let you talk about Juneteenth then, since we're handing
That
things
was
back and forth.
2 meetings ago.
2 meetings ago?
Yes.
Wow, where time flies. I guess before I talk about the bridge and traffic, I will say that it was devastating to find out that Kathy passed away this morning. Her and Warren have been the anchor for the Drug Free Coalition for 25 years. And both of them are just phenomenal human beings that truly care about anybody afflicted with any type of addictions. So, I'd ask for some prayers for Warren. I know it'll be tough on him, and we lost Jim Roy last year, part of the Drug Free Coalition, and now Kathy, and those are 2 main staples of that group. And bottom line is, you look at the signs that we have around the county right now, and we have 0 deaths from overdoses. And that doesn't mean we won't have one tomorrow, but this is the furthest we've ever gone as a county without somebody passing away from an overdose. So, and that's directly from our Drug Free Coalition team members. So I just kudos to them, and Warren, we're here for you, and I'm sure Kathy's in a better place. Now let's talk about some traffic. We go to the Bay Bridge Reconstruction Advisory Group meeting tomorrow night. I sent in a list of questions, and after the last 2 weeks, I got a whole nother list I want to ask. With today being one of them, from a standpoint of, I travel it every day, and it's my pet peeve, so I'm always looking at the signage that we have up. Well, our signage, excuse my French, sucks. If you're on the 3-lane bridge, like for instance today, they have 1 lane closed on the eastbound bridge, so they do contraflow on the westbound bridge. Well, the signage, when you get right up on the bridge, it says no vehicles over 5 tons in the left 2 lanes. That message needs to be out 2 miles out, because those vehicles can't get over. I was in the center lane with tractor trailers in front of me and behind me, with tractor trailers coming up, going eastbound in the contraflow lane. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, and it hasn't happened yet. Well, it did.
It did.
15, 20 years ago. I can't remember when that was.
July 4th.
That head-on was Saturday.
It wasn't two trucks.
It was contraflow.
Oh, but I'm saying it was.
I'm talking about the one where the father and the son got killed.
Oh, yeah.
Where a trailer came unhinged. So I think one of the conversations that, I want to have tomorrow night is, we have to improve on our signage. We have to be able to get the tractor trailers, and not only the tractor trailers, but if you're pulling a boat, if you're pulling a trailer, if you're pulling your camper, all of these vehicles need to stay in the right lane to reduce it, because it's gonna happen. The last two accidents that we had that really affected the bridge were both with tractor trailers, and both tractor trailers were in the center lane. They weren't in the right lane, so, you know, that's something that's gotta go on. Another thing that's very disturbing, to me, after all these years, is Sunday's traffic. And we saw it during the Juneteenth weekend, and we saw it again on the July 4th weekend, where Thursday and Friday and Saturday, people were going to the beach, and they all came home on Sunday. I mean, this last Sunday was, 16 miles, and it was 16 miles for well over 4 hours. And it got down to 10 miles after 6 hours. But what's alarming to me is there were no accidents. That's pure volume and pure traffic, and with using 3 lanes. And my concern is now 4 lanes may not be enough. If you've got every road from Delaware, upper Eastern Shore, and, Ocean City and whatnot, coming to the same point, I'm concerned that 4 lanes might not get it, and then we don't want to build a bridge and go right into the contrail. And believe me, there's people a lot smarter than I am, but it's just what I took away from it. And I want to say also, kudos to Sheriff Gary Hoffman. I mean, kudos for standing up yesterday. I went out 3 times, and the deputies were actually stopping vehicles at Nesbitt and at the Chester River Beach overpass. And it was open. You could move up and down the corridor, but they would close it for 10 or 15 minutes, and they'd open it back up, and they didn't totally kill it off, but it needs to be. So, I think one of the things I want to approach tomorrow night is it going to take a declaration of, from the governor for an unsafe situation to give us control of those ramps? Or is there something we can do as a county to shut it down when it gets like that? Because, they might be far in between, but they're still there. And at least if we had a plan, I think it would make a huge difference. But there's a lot there going on, and I just, I think that the red light, the red X cameras are something we're going to start pushing hard now and get to work on that. And those red X cameras can, hopefully maybe we can use the same thing for the tractor trailers and anybody in that lane and going up. I can't tell you how many times as I'm going eastbound in the evenings, a lot of cars don't realize that first lane to the left is going to go in contraflow. Right. So they come flying up and they see it, and they don't, with all the signage going on, arrows and X's, and they get, you can tell they lock up and they pull into that median and they just stop. And it gets a little crazy. So I just think our signage needs to be much better. It just, they need to put it up there, and needs to be reinforced. And even our 2 signs now, you have to hunt for it. It says a $92 fine. It needs to be better than that. And I haven't seen that. Well, I just, it's the least expensive thing we can do and maybe get our biggest bang out of, and we should be doing it. And,
So Jim,
and the same thing with contraflow. So, the last 2 Saturdays, 3 Saturdays, they're moving contraflow. The one Saturday, Juneteenth, that weekend there, they had contraflow open all the way till 2:30. Now, I'm not the smartest guy, sharpest knife in the drawer, but when you say, well, we're giving it to the side that has the most volume, well, if you have 3 lanes running east and they're moving at 40, 50, 55 miles an hour, and you only have 2 lanes moving west and they're crawling at 15, 20 miles an hour, eastbound's going to be the one with more volume, even though westbound's backed up 8.5, 9 miles. And what I think that, we do a lot of things for conditioning. We condition the public and closing these ramps so they know, so don't try it. And they're working. They're working on both sides. But I want to see us sit down and say, okay, look, maybe at 12:30 on Saturdays, 12:30, no later than 1, we come out of contraflow. And you push that message on the billboards to and from the beaches saying, look, you don't want to leave Ocean City at, 10 o'clock in the morning and hit that contraflow, or 9 o'clock in the morning, to give them a better opportunity the traffic to flow better, knowing that when I get there, it's not going to be in a backup. But when you don't know which, accidents and weather, all bets are off. We understand that. But in good weather, you need to say that contraflows, you know, you're not gonna, eastbound, you're gonna lose contraflow at high noon. And then that way, you know, because that's about when the backups start, is from noon to 1 o'clock on, and we could switch it over. So that's just where I sit with it, and hopefully we can get some things done tomorrow to move forward in that, so.
Yeah, and to that point, Jim, the red X, it's, first off, they make it a yellow X for the first 6.
Correct.
And then it's red with 3 left.
Yeah.
By that time, you've got all the idiots already jammed up in the, they need to start that red X where the first one is and just say, it's red now. They need signage back there that says, if you are in the red lane, you will get ticketed.
And they're
Because-
there.
But you can't see them. I mean,
Thank
they're
you.
not standing out, they're not standing
I
out to
agree.
where somebody's
Yeah.
gonna see them.
I mean, you know,
And to your information point real quick is, that stuff should be pushed out on every Ocean City site
Absolutely.
about the
Absolutely.
contraflow.
Yeah.
Because again, it's informational stuff, and I drive it every day like you.
Yeah.
And if I didn't know what a lot of that meant,
Mm-hmm.
there's just not a lot of directions on how to follow it. You got people coming, I see a lot of Virginia, DC,
Well, for the-
Pennsylvania, all these
The
people.
first time, last week was the first time I saw state troopers sitting with MDTA
Yeah, ticketing the
police.
red X.
Yeah, ticketing the red X. But they're doing that in the mornings during the week. They're doing it on off, you know, not during peak rush hours, you know, and that's when I think they need to be there, because that's when the public loses their mind. You know, when I came back Saturday, I can't tell you how many vehicles went all the way up to the barricades, all the way up to the barricades and then cut over. It's crazy.
They're
And-
riding the shoulder on the right where the way lane is.
Yeah.
And then they're coming up and they're trying to hop it, which isn't even a lane.
Right.
It's literally the shoulder, and they're riding that. But if you look at it, it does look like a lane.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, there's confusion there. Somehow they either got to hash mark that it's not a lane, because people are using it like it's a lane. They get up there and then they get all, you know, they're flicking you off because you don't let them in. It's like, you're not even in a lane.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of, and that's what we're starting to hear about and see, there's a lot of road rage. I
Yeah.
understand, someone was waving a gun around.
Yep.
On Sunday, underneath the bridge, and, you know, I mean, if you don't get it under control now, I mean, you can see where people lose their mind, so, I don't know, I just think we need to get a better message out there and a stronger message out there, and, you know, maybe, God forbid, if they happen to accelerate the plans for this new bridge, so, you know, you get, I mean, nobody, what the public needs to understand is it's gonna be only one bridge built right now. And I imagine if I were to guess, it'd be 10 years before there's 2 bridges. You know, it's just because, but then they'll be back to that contraflow. And that's, you know, I think that's a crazy thing to do, but we'll see. So, no sunshine there.
No.
A lot of rain, just like outside.
Slaughter.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Coming eastbound, 3 lanes, you got the contraflow. A pickup truck with a trailer should not be on the contraflow side.
Correct, no trailers, no trailers
It's-
whatsoever,
that
no,
is
nothing
an
over 5
accident
tons.
waiting to happen, and I see it a lot.
Yep.
And all it's gonna take is a couple of tickets.
Well,
Meaning pull them over when they get on the Ken Island side.
Last year, I came across Saturday morning, it's the contraflow, I go to my office every Saturday morning, and last year, I'm coming over the bridge, and it's the slinky effect, you know, you speed up, and then all of a sudden you stop, and then you speed up, and well, there was 2 guys behind me in a pickup truck, and they were towing a trailer, it was a construction vehicle. And I could see them plain as out saying, I'm looking at the cars in front of me, and I'm slowing down, and I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and they're laughing, having a good old time, going, this guy's gonna run into the end of me. What does he do? He looks up and sees me stopped, and he slams on the brakes, and he pulls right out into contraflow. And had there been a car there, I would have been witness to it, head on, right there. And they looked at each other, and they started giggling again, and as I rolled forward, they got back behind me, and I just thought, it's that easy.
Yeah.
It's just that easy, so. Anyways, sorry.
Jack? Yeah, I just want to echo Jim, his sentiment about Kathy Wright. Her, Warren have meant so much to this county in terms of education for the Drug-Free Coalition and everything they do tirelessly, of their own free will for all these years. Been a part of it. On the outside, Jim, obviously really deep into it for the last 10 years that I've been commissioner. And again, seen just, you know, you just hate to see assets like that leaving our county that are giving of their own time and efforts, and, you know, thoughts and prayers to Warren and his family moving forward. I know it's going to be tough. I guess on a lighter note, we did get to 4 of us got to read at the Declaration, a piece of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, right here in front of the historic courthouse. It's an annual tradition that Mary Margaret has been doing this was year 10, I believe, right? And then next year will be, no, year 9. Next year, year 10 will actually be the 250th anniversary, I believe is what she said. So looking forward to that. And small crowd, but hopefully next year for the 250, we can get a bigger crowd out there. Probably had 30 people, but yeah, it's always good if you sit there and you listen, you have 10 of us, 12 of us reading, and then you kind of listen to each person's lines, and it really sinks in, and you're sitting there on July 4th. So recommend if you've never actually read the Declaration of Independence, give it a read. So.
Or the Constitution.
Or the Constitution.
Is that a
yeah.
read?
Declaration, if you don't understand the big words, don't worry about it, just keep going.
Yeah, just
Keep going.
fly through 'em.
Keep going.
Take a stab at them. So, that's all I got.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to commend Mary Margaret for doing that as well, to get her, and then again, Kathy, right? This county works on the volunteers who do things, take time out of their life to make the county better, put events together, and to help them. And unfortunately, what we see is that a lot of the people who do it, there's not a new wave of younger volunteers that are there. Not in the numbers that we used to have, and that's a real shame, because they make everything happen for the county. People don't realize that. There is a small group of dedicated volunteers that really do a tremendous amount in this county. And so it's a shame that a lot of times we don't get to really recognize them until after it's too late. But maybe we need to make more of an effort of doing more on that, because it's amazing work that they do. And hopefully we can get some more new blood active in these things, especially with the Drug and Alcohol Free Coalition. That's so important. Like you said, the numbers of overdoses and the deaths that are down. But what we're also seeing is that, underage drinking is going back up. And
Vaping is a very huge
all
problem.
those things, and a lot of where parents think it's not a big deal. It is. You're setting your kids up for failure. So you need to be active and know what's going on and provide better environments for kids to have a good time without alcohol and drugs. And Kathy Warren did a lot to get that message out there. We just had them here a few meetings ago, right, with the ambassadors.
Yes, sir.
All right, on that somber note, I will entertain